They say no one can escape the weather, but in the era of climate change, that saying has become more literal than ever. The planet is warming, oceans are rising, and the map itself seems to be rewriting what it means to call a place safe.
But 3 degrees of global warming would be catastrophic.
Heat waves, droughts, extreme precipitation, even fire. 3 degrees of warming is really disastrous.
People used to move for opportunity, for family, for love. Now they're moving to survive. And while half the country faces wildfires, droughts, and hurricanes that seem to grow more biblical every year, there are a handful of places that stand as quiet refugees. Cities built not on luck, but on geography, resilience, and foresight. Seattle tops that list. Tucked in the misty Pacific Northwest, it's one of the few major cities in America that seems almost indifferent to the chaos around it. The rains come, yes, endless, rhythmic, gentle. But that rain is its protection. The city is cool, stable, and insulated from drought and fire in a way that feels almost unfair. No hurricanes, no brutal heat waves, no tornadoes roaring through the skyline. Just temperate air, clean water, and hillsides that stay green when the rest of the country turns brown. The cost of that security is high, literally. Seattle's housing prices are among the highest in the nation, but ask anyone who lives there if it's worth it, and they'll tell you peace of mind has no price tag. Drive a few hours south and you'll find Portland, Oregon, Seattle's sister city, both in rain and resilience. Portland shares the same natural armor, a cool climate, an endless canopy of trees and mountains that protect it from extremes. It rains often, sometimes too often, but that precipitation keeps the air clean and the forests alive. Portlanders don't fear the next drought or wildfire season. They compost, recycle, and plant community gardens, knowing their city has one of the most forward-thinking climate action plans in the country. When the rest of the West Coast burns or bakes, Portland just hums quietly beneath the clouds. A reminder that sometimes the gray sky is the safest color of all. Across the Cascades lies Spokane, Washington, smaller, humbler, but no less impressive in its resistance. The inland air is drier here, and winters can bite harder, but Spokane's secret lies in its balance. It sits far enough from the ocean to avoid coastal flooding, high enough to escape the worst of the heat, and stable enough to dodge the seismic tantrums that plague the coast. For a city that's often overlooked, Spokane might just be one of America's best-kept survival secrets. Affordable, adaptable, and quietly thriving while others chase overpriced beachfront dreams. Then there's Boise, Idaho, the new darling of the American migration story. After the pandemic, people flocked there by the thousands, searching for space, calm, and safety. Boise welcomed them with clean air, mountain views, and one of the lowest social vulnerability scores in the nation. It doesn't have the glamour of California or the density of New York, but that's exactly what makes it work. Boise is balanced. Its climate risk scores are low, its economy is steady, and its community is tight-knit. It's not immune to change, but it's ready for it. Head west and you'll find the Bay Area. Expensive, iconic, and surprisingly, one of the safest regions to ride out climate change. San Francisco leads the charge. For all its earthquakes and high costs, the city stands as a fortress against the more apocalyptic scenarios. Sea levels are a concern, yes, but San Francisco's geography and climate are remarkably stable. The Pacific keeps it cool, the fog keeps it moist, and the hills protect it from flooding. Fires rarely reach its urban heart, and the air, despite its reputation, remains cleaner than most major U.S. cities. There's a strange serenity to life there, the kind that comes from knowing that while the rest of the country might face 110-degree summers, San Francisco still needs a jacket in July. A short drive south brings you to San Jose, the high-tech nerve center of Silicon Valley. If San Francisco is the brain, San Jose is the beating heart, and it beats strong. Its risk factors are impressively low across the board. Minimal heat spikes, moderate rainfall, low flood potential. The comfort index here ranks among the best in the country. The city's problem isn't climate, it's cost. Living in the safest climate zone in America comes with a Silicon Valley price tag, but those who can afford it are already thinking long term. They know the future belongs to places that can endure, not just innovate. Move inland to Colorado and you hit Aurora and Denver, twin examples of what happens when elevation becomes an asset. Both cities sit on the Front Range, shielded from hurricanes, rising seas, and extreme heat. Denver's air is thinner, cooler, and dry enough to make wildfires manageable. Aurora, its neighbor, has a population that's grown rapidly but responsibly. The state has one of the most up-to-date climate action plans in the nation, emphasizing renewable energy and water conservation. When summer brings record-breaking heat to Phoenix or floods to Miami, Colorado stays calm. Its skies blue, its mountains steady, its residents breathing a little easier at 5,000 feet above the chaos. Back in California, Oakland sits quietly across the bay from San Francisco, often living in its shadow but sharing the same climate blessings. The air is ocean-cooled, the temperature's stable, the vegetation lush. Oakland's average climate risk score is one of the lowest in the nation, and it's not a coincidence. The city's layout, its tree cover, and its proximity to the bay all form a natural buffer against the worst of climate extremes. Even fire season tends to spare Oakland, which enjoys some of the lowest fire and heat risk levels of any major city in California. Its residents joke that the fog saves them, and they're right. Santa Ana, nestled in Orange County, has a similar story. While Southern California often conjures images of droughts and infernos, Santa Ana sits in a microclimate of relative comfort. It boasts one of the highest comfort index scores in the study, a 9.3, the highest of all, and one of the lowest precipitation and heat risk levels. The city has invested heavily in climate adaptation, and California's statewide policies reinforce that protection. There's something poetic about it. The idea that in a state known for fire, one of its sunniest cities might also be one of the safest. Nearby, Fremont continues the Bay Area's streak of resilience. With its low flood, precipitation, and heat risk scores, it's a city that doesn't just survive, it thrives quietly in the background. Fremont is the kind of place where sustainability isn't a slogan, it's a habit. The community's infrastructure, the abundance of green spaces, and the ever-present marine layer all help cushion the city from climate volatility. And then there's Anaheim, Disneyland's hometown, and one of the most climate-stable cities in the United States. Its risk factors mirror Santa Ana's, with minimal exposure to extreme heat or flooding. The irony isn't lost on anyone. A place built for fantasy now stands as one of the real-world refuges from a warming planet. Families who once came for the theme parks may one day come for something simpler: safety. Finally, Denver closes the list. The mile-high city might not have the coastlines or the forests of the Pacific Northwest, but what it has is stability. Its climate extremes are few, its wildfire risk is moderate, and its infrastructure is built for resilience. Colorado's proactive climate policies have made Denver one of the most sustainable cities in the country, with renewable energy projects expanding faster than anywhere else in the Rockies. Each of these cities, Seattle, Portland, Spokane, Boise, San Francisco, San Jose, Aurora, Oakland, Santa Ana, Fremont, Anaheim, and Denver, represents a small piece of hope in a country increasingly shaped by heat waves, floods, and fires. Together they form a pattern: cooler climates, higher elevations, and governments that actually plan ahead. Because surviving climate change isn't just about luck, it's about preparation. It's about choosing places where water still flows, where the air still moves, where communities still believe in science. It's about understanding that the future of survival looks less like beachfront property and more like a cloudy day in the Pacific Northwest. In the coming decades, millions of Americans may find themselves on the move, not for work, not for love, but for safety. They'll trade humidity for drizzle, beaches for mountains, and sunburn for sweaters. And when they do, these cities will be ready, quiet sanctuaries built for the storm. Because when the world burns, floods, and melts, the safest place isn't the one with the best view. It's the one that still feels like home when the climate stops playing fair. And somewhere beneath the soft rain of Seattle, or the thin air of Denver, or the cool fog of Oakland, the future might just be waiting, steady, breathing, and built to last.